Hello guys, so today we'll talk about looking at Davis's population. This is a map of Davis's population density as well. Yeah, there are other areas that are very unpopulated. However, this area is mostly mountains, which is why most of here is unpopulated. A lot of this state is mostly rural farmland. Same thing of here and here and here and here. Same thing with most of here as well, and most of central here and here, and even here. However, there is an unspoken line here. This northern portion of Davis here, once you cross this little line here, Davis's population drastically plummets. Areas here. The area is uninhabited, unpopulated, and almost no one lives here. Northern Davis is one of the strangest parts of the country. It is the most ethnically diverse part of Davis, which is strange because you'd think it would be where all the people live. However, the most ethnically part of diverse area of Davis is actually Northern Davis due to other groups and ethnicities living in this area. However, one of the strangest areas here is known as Dagger Strip. This area is so unpopulated, it's unreal. This area has a total population of around 20,000 people. This entire area has a total population of around 20,000 people, with some of these counties and districts having less than 500 people. Yeah, there are 3 counties in this area that have less than 500 people as well. But why is this? So, even on a political map of the country, all of this area now votes one way. Why are these rural communities, why is this area just so strange? Unlike the rest of Northern Davis, this area is around 93% Davisian, one of the highest non-diverse parts of Davis throughout the entire country. Yeah. The only other areas that rival it is Northern Borat, which is 96% Davisian, and Ithaca, which is around 97% Davisian. However, Davis has received mass immigration, and this is one of the last areas of old Davis left in the northern part of the country as well here. This is why it votes the way it does. Yeah. This is the least bothered area by immigrants, as immigrants don't even want to move to these districts. Yeah. The same thing can be said with these northern areas as well. Immigration, this entire area is a black hole to immigration. Even the area's politics have changed. Going from a swing area in the 80s, when there was almost no people here, so it's much easier for, liberals to win now, because literally some of these counties had a population of just 100 people. And this area was pretty much ignored. 1982, 1986, 1990, 1994. However, conservatives started to consolidate this area way more, and in 2024, this seen some of the most extreme areas for conservatives ever, despite having no population. Yeah, some of these districts voted 90% for a conservative candidate, the highest of any counties in the country. There are some extreme rural counties that do have 90% conservatives, but no area comes close to here. This was the most conservative area by a landslide. The area voted 83% for conservatives, the highest ever. Yeah. Again, most of these counties have no population. For example, in this county, the Watson settlement has a population of 86. This area right here, its largest area has about 1,000 people. The least populated county here has a positive population of 72 people here. And settlements are very far and few between. If we basically get rid of the political borders that make up this map, you'll see here that You see here that the population density is very sparse. These are basically all of the settlements in this entire area. Here, with the most people living here and here. However, most of these areas have one or two or three total settlements as well. The amount of settlements have actually declined in these areas, as there are many ghost towns, which are actually pretty common in this entire area. Most of these are settlements that were abandoned when these counties were created, not long after these counties were created as well here. Despite this area has seen population growth unimaginable. Despite 2025 being a bad year for these counties and bad year for the whole country as well, 2024 saw a population trend growth of all of these counties growing in population. Yeah, 2024 was a relatively good year for Davisians. Well, these areas for the 8th year, for many years in a row, have seen a population growth. The areas grew from 17,000 people to around 20,000 people for the first time. The area's rate of decline also increased slightly to 20,133 in 2025. 2023, the population grew by around 1.73. 2024, and because 2025, it didn't really go at all, and the biggest county declined by 0.5%, 0.04% as well. That means this entire area has had a consecutive growth for years at this point. Yeah, these counties also have some of the highest birth rates in the entire, with birth rates going very high and much higher than the average county in the country. With the average birth rate of these counties being 2.42. Yep, 2.227. Which is as high as South Tyrantia. Not as high as South Tyrantia, but pretty high, all things considered. Yeah. One of the highest in the whole country. And it's also home to the county with the highest birth rate as well. However, the most populated county has a lower birth rate than the average county in this area, making them two population extremes as well. The second least populated county has the highest birth rate, meanwhile the two most populated counties have the lowest birth rates, have some of the lowest birth rates as well, making the area have a birth rate of 2.27, despite the other half of the area having a very high birth rate. This just really shows you that this northern part of the country has seen population growth. However, the population growth is starting to stall and maybe even decrease in the future. Despite having very high birth rates, a very big problem if this area is happening. While most young folk leave this area, there's a main reason why. One, lack of people. Lack of people is a pretty bad thing. A lot of young people want to move to the city to escape in a very, very desolate area, as well as soil is poor, as it's mostly Arctic soil, and it is not. And economically, this area is disastrous. Most young people usually flee to the center ports of the country, where it's much more economically feasible to live there. Yeah. Another reason why people don't want to live here is the fact that it's super cold. Temperatures regularly reach into negatives in the winter. During January, the average temperature is negative 14, February it's negative 7, and December it's negative 13 as well. So this area's average temperatures are very cold, very much like the rest of northern Davis as well. The average, and again, most of Davis is very cold, but the northernmost portion of Davis is very cold. Most of the trees here are also conifer trees as well here. Most of the landscape is also just boreal forest. It is really this endless boreal forest. A lot of people just move to the metropolitan area closest to them, or they move towards central Davis, where most of the economic activity is, as well here. So that's why no one wants to live in this northern strip of Davis. It is because the area is cold and economically poor. Goodbye.